Hello there, and welcome to today's episode of the Easy EdTech Podcast. My name is Monica Burns, and I am so glad that you're here to join me today. If you want to make the most of education technology, aka EdTech, well, you are in the right place. My goal has always been to help make EdTech easier and give you ideas you can try yourself, share with a colleague, or bookmark for later in the school year. Every Tuesday here on the Easy EdTech Podcast, you'll hear stories from my time in the classroom, the work I do now with schools and districts, and my travels to different EdTech events. Get ready for solo episodes where I share some quick tips and stories, and interviews full of practical ideas and stories from new guests each month. If we mention something you'd like to check out, make sure to click the link. You'll find it in the episode description or the summary area where you're listening to this podcast, or you can find every episode and all of the resources we mention by going to classtechtips.com/podcast, or by going to classtechtips.com and just clicking on the Easy EdTech Podcast button at the top of the page. This episode is sponsored by me. If your school or district is planning professional learning for this school year, I would love to join you. I lead keynotes, workshops, and virtual sessions for educators on everything from artificial intelligence in education to EdTech strategies that stick. Whether you're bringing me in for a full day or a 1-hour virtual session, we'll make it practical and packed with ideas teachers can use right away. Head to classtechtips.com and click the Work with Monica button at the top of the page to learn more, or send an email to hello@classtechtips.com. This week's episode is all about ways AI can support a book study for students and how you can use a classroom book study really in any subject area. So we're going to talk about what you can do to really bring book studies to life and how AI-powered tools can be a companion along this journey. Now, earlier this year, at the beginning of the summer, I had the chance to lead a session for a fantastic group of educators who all had the same thing in common. They love a good book study. So we started off sharing some of our favorite books to use with students. Then we jumped right into ways to help, get some help from AI-powered tools. Now, this was a group of educators who are in an ELA classroom, who are in the library, who are supporting readers in different ways. So you could use these tips for a novel study in an ELA classroom. You might use these for short reading activities in a science or a math classroom. Maybe you're doing a historical fiction or narrative nonfiction book. Narrative nonfiction is my favorite genre. If you're in a social studies classroom, or that might be your go-to. So plenty of ways you could bring this into your practice. Maybe you're reading memoirs in a homeroom, right? So I've designed these tips to be very scalable. You might say, yep, or not for me for a couple of them. Or you might decide one would actually fit the work that you're doing and the text that you're introducing to students. Regardless if you're in a traditional reading classroom, you might be in a spot where your students are reading, right, in lots of different ways. Now, of course, when we talk about using AI to support book studies, it does not mean handing the reading experience over to a chatbot. Today's episode is really about using just a couple tools intentionally to accomplish your goals, like building contacts, sparking conversations, and really designing the kind of reading experiences that will stick with students. So as a classroom teacher, I only had so many hours in the day to get done what I wanted to get done. I had plenty of things I wished I could do, but just didn't have the time for. And that's really when, I think about the power of AI as a classroom educator, right? It's really about taking care of items on your wish list in addition to tackling some of those items on your to-do list. And this session, like many of the ones that I do, around AI and education, or the AI and ed tech connection, is really about scaling your impact with AI. And for this session, I made connections to 3 of the essentials from my book, Ed Tech Essentials: generate, assess, and create. And you'll hear that as we move through today's episode. I'm going to walk you through 10 of my favorite ways to bring AI alongside your next book study. So whether you're brand new to AI or been experimenting for a while, these strategies, I've paired them with different tools, will work well with your favorite chatbot. Gemini's high on my list, Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude might be high on your list too, right? So these are ones I'll spotlight as we move through this episode, but use yours. Use the one that's already in your tool belt. So number 1 on the list is build instant background knowledge. A book study or any reading activity in a classroom can begin before you even open up the first page or get to the first sentence in an article. You can ask an AI-powered tool to generate a 1-page, half-page, grade-level primer on a book setting, era, or central topic of a text. This overview can help students start a book study or reading experience with some context already in place. For this tip, you might try Gemini and use a prompt like, write a 1-page background primer for 5th graders on the Dust Bowl era, including 3 key facts and 2 questions to think about before reading. This would be a perfect prompt if you're introducing a book or a story for that group of students around this time period. Number 2, introduce vocabulary with a game. You can do this using Padlet Arcade. I featured Padlet on the blog at the very start of the year, and I love Padlet Arcade, a free AI-powered tool you could use to create a quick game to introduce a handful of words students will meet in the book. Padlet Arcade is just one example. You might use another tool to vibe code something and make an interactive game for students. So essentially, you could try something like create a matching game with 8 vocab words and student-friendly definitions for a middle school novel about survival in the wilderness. Then you would paste in your vocab or upload your PDF of vocab words. Number 3 is to create an author snapshot. An author snapshot can take so many different forms. Maybe you try Notebook LM for this tip. You could upload a handful of resources about an author's life, then use the Studio panel to make a few different types of AI-generated content. Maybe an infographic, maybe a short explainer video, maybe an audio overview with the help of AI. You can use the infographic tool in Notebook LM for this example and tap on the customize box to explain, what exactly you want to be in that infographic. Number 4 on the list is to hook your readers with multimedia. You can use an AI-generated audio and video to build some excitement, get kids curious about a new book. Maybe you even create a song with 11 Labs or a short video with Canva's AI tools. So for this strategy, you might use the video clip option in Canva, describe the opening scene of a book you're about to introduce to students, and then create that video and share it with your class. Number 5 on our list is to make cross-text connections. Help your readers connect what they've read in a book study to other texts. You can create a custom gem in Gemini to do this if you want to. That would be a great way to get started playing around with gems. With the reusable gem, you can generate text-to-text connections for any book your class is going to tackle this year. So when you're trying out this tip, give some examples of the types of text you like to share with students, and that will help the gem give you some stronger recommendations. All right, we're halfway through our list, and number 6 is to generate leveled paired passages. Pairing a novel with a nonfiction passage can deepen a student's interaction with the story, and finding the perfect text at a just right reading level can definitely be a challenge. One tool you might use here to generate some leveled paired passage is Diffit. They let you create leveled, paired passages on topics connected to a book's theme. That way, every kid can get a text that they can easily access. I partnered with them to create some custom lessons you can remix, and I'll make sure to put a link here for that too. Number 7 on our list is find real-world tie-ins. You can help students see how a reading experience connects to today by using an AI chatbot to identify some current events or even careers linked to a book's theme. So you might try out Duck AI for this. That's one favorite chatbot. And you might use a prompt like find 3 real-world careers or current events connected to a book about environmental activism with a one-sentence explanation of each. Of course, you could pop in that book's title if you wanted to, or just keep it general. Number 8 is to spark better discussion prompts. The best book discussions start with the right questions, and you can ask AI for some open-ended, debate-worthy prompts that don't have one single correct answer. This can push students to have a deeper dialogue about what they're reading, and if this is something you do with kids all the time, you could even build one of those reusable gems for this repeatable task. So your prompt might be something like, give me 5 open-ended discussion questions for chapters 1, 2, and 3, and then you put in the book title, that have no single right answer, and encourage students to defend their thinking. Number 9, brainstorm project ideas and exemplars. When it's time to wrap up a book study, AI can help you map out the final project. You might use ChatGPT to brainstorm project ideas for your class, right? Really depending on the project you have in mind, right? That chatbot could even help you create exemplars. Really, of course, it depends on what you're doing. So students can picture their final product before they begin. So you could, if you know you want kids to create infographics, for example, head to an AI-powered tool, ask if it can help make you a handful of infographics. So we're almost at number 10, but a first recap. Number 1, build instant background knowledge. 2, introduce vocab with a game. 3, create an author snapshot. 4, hook your readers with multimedia. 5, make cross-text connections. 6, generate leveled paired passages. 7, find real-world tie-ins. 8, spark better discussion prompts. 9, brainstorm project ideas and exemplars. And now number 10, gather student feedback. Once your group is finished with a book or a reading experience, ask students to share what they thought. You can create a quick survey or form to gather feedback on the book and the whole experience. I'm a big fan of Jotform. If you followed along with the podcast, you know I've partnered with them a bunch this year for podcast episodes and some blog posts, and they have an AI-powered quiz maker that makes it easy to build a student-friendly form and see all of the results at a glance. So that might be a place to go to create a survey to gather student feedback. So as I mentioned at the top of this episode, it was so much fun leading a webinar about this topic for educators earlier this summer. And these ideas, the ones I shared with you today, are really just starting points. Whether you're using a chatbot or an AI-powered tool, right, you are truly in the driver's seat to make this all happen. Now, if you want to do something like this with your own school or district, a workshop or webinar on a topic like this one, or maybe something from a different episode of the podcast, feel free to reach out. You can always find me at monica@classtechtips.com. That's my super quick email, right? And of course, there's the events button at the very top of my website where you can see some of the events that I'm doing that anyone could join into or happening like at a public event or a conference. I don't put my school stuff up there. We're working with schools and districts, but those are kind of the bigger events you can find there too. So let's make this EdTech easy with a few key points from today's episode. Use AI to build background knowledge before students begin a book. Create vocabulary games, author snapshots, and multimedia hooks to spark interest. Generate paired passages, discussion prompts, and project ideas to deepen learning. Collect student feedback to improve future book studies. And remember, you can find the show notes and the full list of resources from today's episode by heading over to easyedtechpodcast.com. This episode is sponsored by me. If your school or district is planning professional learning for this school year, I would love to join you. I lead keynotes, workshops, and virtual sessions for educators on everything from artificial intelligence in education to EdTech strategies that stick. Whether you're bringing me in for a full day or a 1-hour virtual session, we'll make it practical and packed with ideas teachers can use right away. Head to classtechtips.com and click the Work with Monica button at the top of the page to learn more, or send an email to hello@classtechtips.com. Thank you for listening to this new episode of the Easy EdTech podcast. I love creating new episodes for you each week, but I could use a bit of help spreading the word about the podcast. Can you leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app? Spotify will let you tap on the stars, and Apple Podcasts will let you tap on the stars and leave a 1 or 2 sentence review. Thank you so much for taking this extra step. It helps other educators find episodes like this one when they're searching for EdTech tips.